We made it here all the way. I am not gonna lie. This might be my most damning video of Hasan Piker on the entire YouTube internet world. Now, most people don't want to get too nitty-gritty into the politics. Most people just want to call him out for like his obvious socialism grifting. Pay no attention to the picture of Bill Cosby here with the Hamas headband. I just think that if Bill Cosby joined Hamas, all of a sudden Hasan Piker would stop, calling him out for being a rapist. But pay no attention to any of that because, as you know, I am neck deep into the How Effed is Hasan Piker franchise. I am getting massive amounts of hate raids on the internet for it. I'm sure everyone is aware and everybody cares so much. But he is currently at 530% cooked. I've done the math. I've tabulated all of it. And he's undeniably cooked. This video is going to be me proving that he does not care about Palestinians. He does not care about the civilians in Gaza. He does not care about any of those people. They would all die if he had it his way and if he could make Hamas look like heroes that are murdering Jews. I'm so sorry. I know this is going to be a very heavy one, but it is going to be a very heavy one. Now, the reason why I decided I'm going to do this is because realistically no one else is going to. Everyone likes calling him out for like the obvious lies, obvious virtue signaling. So trigger warning. This is going to be a very deep dive into a very dark situation, which is a geopolitical conflict involving deaths on all sides, and it's fucking awful. Today I'm going to prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that Hasan Piker is a terrorist-supporting retard that fucking wants Hamas terrorists to kill Jews by any means necessary. And he doesn't care about the Palestinians that die on the way. So yeah, this is going to be really dark, but you know what? Someone has to do it. Now, before we get too deep, I have to show you how pathetic Hasan is, all right? Before we make fun of him for being a retarded terrorist supporter, we need to make fun of him for being a complete and utter loser, all right? See, I have my priorities, okay? So, this is just a really fun minute and 20-second compilation of Hasan essentially showing that he is like a complete loser.
Kai Cenat's Viral Streamer University.
Streamer University is brilliant. The greatest site-wide event thrown so far in Twitch history. It's all over my TikTok. Everything is hilarious. This is the new meta for reality TV, and the Ant Boys did it.
Bro wants to be included so bad. You're so desperate for clout.
Isho Speed went viral going to China.
All right.
I'm very happy for him, but I'm also incredibly jealous. His China trip is literally like, it's something that I dream of.
Bitch.
And then I wake up in cold sweats knowing that I have to live in reality.
Thou shalt not covet or something, right, bro?
Where I have not done it.
Whoa.
Oh my God, this is literally, he's f***ing living my dream. He's literally living my dream. I hate it.
Look at this Nepo baby socialist fuck.
I hate seeing it. I hate seeing someone else live my dream, dude.
It's time. I'm
Tommy wet dream, baby.
going to China this year, believe it.
I just bought this $250,000 car in China. Let's see what it can do.
All right.
Sue! The car even does this.
Look at this man. Look at him licking his lips, just thinking, salivating over that, bro.
Louie! Chat, the car can even dance by itself. Look. Oh, damn.
Do you guys remember when I was talking about this car over and over again? When I was like, I want this vehicle so bad.
Socialist, by the way. Yeah, sell your nuts to China, you commie fuck. Anyway, I thought that was really important to talk about because I need people to know how insecure and annoying he is. All right, this is a clip of Hasan being insecure and annoying, sitting in his socialist mansion, talking about the really important things in life that matters to him, while he makes believe that he cares about Palestinian lives. This is the most, in my opinion, despicable grifting ever done in the history of the internet.
I just, there are issues with aging, but you should probably try and focus on aging gracefully.
True.
I have gray hairs coming.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think I attribute those gray hairs to me. I take all the credit. Hold your applause. I take credit for the gray hairs.
From the sides of my head, on the side of my beard.
The beard ones are Asmongold. That's not me.
I think it's fine.
Oh, little bitch.
People should stop freaking out about it.
Poor bitch.
And enjoy life.
Poor bitch. Poor little bitch.
I got grazed at 23. You're not balding though, which is the worst. I mean, I was.
He was. Of course he was.
I was balding.
This vain fucking bitch loser.
When I was like 26, 27.
Really?
And I started.
What did he start doing, guys?
The process of medical intervention.
What kind of medical intervention?
To stop it.
Oh, hair loss medical intervention. Bro's a victim. Now, let me ask you something, chat. In a world under socialism, would there be hair loss intervention? No, there would not. Because why the fuck would my taxes pay for your bald head? They would pay for someone else's surgeries. Bro is living the lap of luxury, this motherfucker.
And I am still like insecure to a certain degree about the way my hairline looks, but
I don't know why you're insecure, bro. You should own the fact that your hairline is fucked up.
But it's not, for most people, they don't consider it. Like, they don't think it's like bad.
No, I do. I think it's pretty bad, bro. You could tell from all the way over here.
I'm personally insecure about it, though.
I mean, I would be too if my hairline was as fucked up as yours, but whatever.
What are you using? Minoxidil, finasteride?
Hell yeah. He's a communist with a Gucci bag. Got his Prada kicks, gotta have his swag. Anyway, a little clip of me, yours truly, Blue Hitler, went viral the other day. So I thought that I would talk about it a little bit.
Nathan Greenblatt went on CNN only hours after the shooting had taken place to make incredibly slanderous statements about me.
I don't remember him making any slanderous statements. You call me a pedophile. That's slander.
No, true.
Mr. Hasan, in case we're calculating.
All true.
I am looking into lawsuits. Don't worry.
Stating that I was responsible for this.
That's the whole fucking clip. All right, that's the entire clip. That went viral. A lot of people were talking about it on the Twitters, interwebs world, which I thought was funny. The funnier part, in my opinion, than any of that, was Legal Mindset pops out of nowhere. Now that's content. Freaking lawyer YouTubers, man. Those fucking guys popping out of the manholes. All right, this guy says, the best person for the job. Hey, Legal, does Nux have a good case building up so far? And Legal Mindset says, yes, Nux does have a potential claim. Yes, I do have a potential claim. I absolutely do. I have a good claim, I would argue. Now, the funniest thing is, people have been trying to cancel me like crazy. Like absolutely like insane cancellations for this take. I think it's because people are terrified. So like here you have the most insane misrepresentation of what actually happens in this clip. Lolicon Zionist VTuber says he's looking into lawsuits. Learn about how Discovery works, immediately stops looking. None of that's even remotely true, but it's still got 24,000 likes and 2.7 million views. The craziest one, in my opinion, is this one. I can't take any VTuber seriously. Bro, you are a cartoon character. Imagine if Bugs Bunny was defending Israel and being a pedophile. Also, slander. And by the way, I don't know if I had like a really good case to prove damages. I don't know if I had like super good case to prove damages, but now I do. Because it's thanks to you, Hasan, that this narrative is popping out. Because you called me that, and this has 1.2 million views and 73,000 likes. So right now I can prove damages. Until now I had a really hard time proving damages, but right now I actually can prove damages. Because without a shadow of a doubt, 1.2 million views plus that other 2.7 million views, 73,000 likes, that is without a shadow of a doubt reputational harm, and I think I actually appreciate this a lot. That's very cool. Now, the funniest thing is that you don't take me seriously because I'm a VTuber? Totally valid. Free Luigi. The fucking terrorist glazer simps are all coming together to kill me on the internet. It's amazing. Now, I really wanted to show you some details in regards to the certain geopolitical situation that's going on in Israel right now. First, I'm going to show you Hasan's tweets, and then I'm going to show you what actually happened. Because Hasan's tweets are incredibly far from the truth and from reality. So I want to make this clear. This is a Hasan tweet from May 16th, 2025, all right? This is a 2-week-old tweet, all right? This is a 2-week-old tweet. Israel is far worse than Hamas. It has done thousands of October 7s with airstrikes. Who started the war? Ground invasions and mass starvations for 19 months. Anyone who refuses to recognize this fact simply doesn't believe Palestinians are human. I think you don't think Palestinians are human, Hasan. I think you think that they're pawns in order to push your terrorist propaganda bullshit, and I'm going to prove it in this video. So now, this is what's going to be really crazy. Notice from this tweet, he glazes terrorists, of course, that started the war, that caused the deaths of all these people in Gaza, tragically. And the craziest thing is mass starvations for 19 months. Mass starvations, so massive, it's crazy. I cannot believe this. I, for one, really hope that food gets to the citizens, the innocent civilians of Gaza. I really do hope they could get food. But you know who doesn't want them to get food? Hamas, Diddy, Bin Laden, Adolf, Epstein, Piker. So this happened yesterday, all right? Thousands, all right, we'll just read the tweet that he quote tweets for brevity's sake. Before I show you what actually happened. Thousands of starved Gazans stormed the dystopian Israeli-American aid complex in Rafah, that's the border to Egypt, after being forced to stand in endless queues and bake in the sun in a fenced concentration camp, it's his favorite word, while being subjected to biometric surveillance, you know, to make sure that there aren't actual terrorists there. U.S. mercenaries and Israeli troops are opening fire. This is an insane misrepresentation of what's actually going on. It's just some random Twitter guy, so I'll show you what actually happened in a minute. But as you can see here, these are people getting food from Israel and America, all right? So Hasan immediately compares it to the Holocaust. The major difference here is the Jews in the Holocaust, A, did not start the war, all right? B, were not terrorists, all right? C, the target was to eliminate all Jews as opposed to just eliminating terrorists and freeing hostages, all right? And I could keep going forever, literally. There is no comparison between these two things. There is no comparison also. Also, all these people in these pictures, they all ended up dead. These people ended up fed! Not the same! Anyway, Hasan keeps going crazy. Israel starts American-backed aid trap in Gaza. It's an aid trap, guys. I can't believe it failed on day one. I can't believe the aid trap failed. Hasan never wanted food for the Palestinians. So let me show you what actually happened. All right, I'm gonna show you American news. All right, just 2 minutes of American news, because I'm not gonna show you Israeli news. All right, I'm not gonna show you anything like that. Just 2 minutes of American news. All right, let's see what we got, because Hasan really cared about the starving Palestinians until they got food, in which case, fuck that, they should not be getting food. So let me show you a little clip here before we absolutely tear Hasan to shreds, that grifting, terrorist-loving fuck.
I'm Jeanne Francine here with you on this Tuesday morning. It's May 27th. And as we come on the broadcast, we do want to begin with your very latest headlines. It takes us out to the Middle East. Take a good look at your screen. As
America!
We take a live look about 2 minutes shy from the top of the 6 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. There at the Kerem Shalom crossing. This is on the Israel side. We're learning this morning from our content partners over at the Associated Press that a new aid system in Gaza opened its first distribution hub.
Wow, that's a good thing, right? Getting aid and food into Gaza? I mean, Hasan, we're talking about how they were starving for 19 months. Bro, if I would starve for 19 months, I'd be really happy if food came in. Right, guys? Right, guys?
According to a U.S.-backed group that said it began delivering food to Palestinians.
Yeah, let's go, America, yeah!
Who face growing hunger. This after Israel's nearly 3-month blockade to pressure Hamas. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is taking over the handling of aid despite objections from the United Nations. The desperately needed supplies started flowing on a day that saw Israeli strikes kill at least 52 people in Gaza. The group saying that truckloads of food, it did not say how many, have been delivered to its hubs, and distribution to Palestinians is underway. At this time, it's not yet clear where the hubs are located or how those receiving supplies were chosen.
Now, I'll just elaborate. The reason why the UN is against it, I'm pretty sure they explain it in this news broadcast, but I'll explain it also. The reason why the UN is against the specific aid distribution system that is being made by America and Israel right now is because the UN wanted to control all aid, and Hamas terrorists were stealing all the aid. Hamas terrorists were looting the UN's aid drops and stealing all the food and aid for themselves. Now, let me tell you a thing or two about terrorists. These fucking dipshit terrorists, not only do they rape and murder Israelis, but they also murder and starve their own people. And they do it in order to win a propaganda war. They're terrorists, okay? They put rockets in hospitals. Were they charging for aid? No. They were stockpiling aid because they wanted Gazans to starve so that they could show the world that they are on the side of justice. They are terrorists. They don't give a fuck about the people in Gaza. They would love them to die. They use them as human shields. They're bad. They're bad to everyone. The people protested in Gaza, and you know what Hamas did to the protesters that protested them? The Palestinians that protested Hamas? They killed them! Whatever, we'll get a little deeper into this. Hamas is evil. They're bad to everyone. They're bad to Israelis. They're bad to Palestinians. They are bad to everyone. They started this war, and they could have ended this war on day one if they would have returned the hostages and surrendered. So, anyway, the UN handled this incredibly poorly. The terrorists actually stole the food to starve their own people, as I will prove to you, because this shit gets crazy in this episode. And Hasan supports them.
The UN and aid groups have pushed back against this new system, which is backed by Israel and the United States. They assert that Israel is trying to use food as a weapon and say a new system won't be effective. Israel has pushed for an alternative aid delivery plan because it says it must stop Hamas from seizing aid.
You hear why? The reason why they're doing a new system is because the previous system was the Hamas terrorists stealing the food, as I will prove to you later in this video.
The United Nations has denied that the militant group has diverted large amounts.
Yeah, but that's not true, as I will prove to you in this video. This is a 2-day-old video. So by now we actually have proof. So Dan tweeted out about Hasan's aid trap in Gaza. Do you remember when some right-wing lunatics were telling people to not allow FEMA support to Hurricane Helene because it was a trap? That's Hasan. He's the guy telling people who are hungry not to eat. This is why he's referred to as the left's Alex Jones. He's evil. Now, the craziest thing is he also puts this other tweet because Hasan saying that it's an aid trap, it's not just coming from him. Hasan's not smart enough to call food going into the hands of hungry people a trap. He's not that smart. You know who is that smart? The Hamas terrorists. The terrorists are that smart. They're geniuses at propagandizing people. So, oh shit. Wait, did it close the tab? It closed the tab! This is tragic. Whatever, we'll reopen that tab. Don't worry, guys. Hamas warns Palestinians to stay away from US-backed food distribution, but no shit. Hungry Gazans storm aid center anyway. Obviously! Hamas doesn't want the Palestinians to get food. Hamas is trying their best to get them to not eat food from America. You know why? Because they want to starve them. Hasan is literally propagating Hamas terrorist propaganda. Directly. Hamas propaganda. Are they claiming it's poisoned? No, they are not claiming it's poisoned. They just don't want these people to give in to, you know, to actually take food from them. And you have to realize, this is the shit that's happening. Hamas senior Osama Hamdan says, "We expect our great people to thwart the method of receiving aid, just as they thwarted it yesterday. They didn't. We trust that our people will endure hunger and not extend their hands to the occupier asking for aid." He is saying, this Hamas senior, we are really hoping our people starve. We're really hoping they starve. We hope they're brave enough to starve and die. That would be pretty great of our people. That's what the Hamas terrorists are saying. And that is exactly the same shit that Hasan Piker is saying. They are saying the same thing. He aligns with the Hamas terrorists over the Hamas, over the actual Palestinians that are starving, right? So I don't want to editor blur all this, obviously, but here's actual footage of Hamas opening fire on Palestinian crowds in Gaza as thousands gather near a warehouse for flour, killing at least 5 Palestinians. So Hamas terrorists open fire and murder 5+ Palestinians that are trying to get food. All right. There's another video of Hamas militias open firing on thousands of people in Gaza City after they gathered in front of a warehouse to get flour, killing at least 5. This is another angle of that same situation, I believe. This happened after civilians saw Hamas members looting the flour. All right. So this is insane. This also isn't really on the news that Hasan covers at all, because I'm going to show you Hasan's coverage right after this. Now, look, it's basically a concentration camp. Oh, wait, never mind. This is people online for a concert. Never mind. I got the wrong image. Anyway, more on this. Chaos erupts in Gaza as Palestinians storm a Hamas warehouse and discover thousands of pounds of hidden flour. The new distribution center feeds Palestinians directly instead of Hamas stockpiling aid for itself. This is the claim that has been made. As you can see, these are people that stormed the Hamas-controlled warehouse, a terrorist warehouse, and found out that they were stockpiling fuck tons of food. And so, obviously, you have to realize, these are people that have been starving in Gaza, right? It's a war-torn, ravaged, horrible place to be. And they're starving there. And, you know, aid and food actually does go in, right? What happens? Where's the food going? They're starving. Well, the Hamas terrorists steal them literally to starve their own people. So, here's another footage. Look at this shit. Look at this. They just discovered this yesterday. This is all food. So these are Palestinian civilians in Gaza that broke into a Hamas-controlled warehouse to essentially say, holy fuck, you had all this food this whole fucking time. So Hamas, all right, you have to realize their entire argument is don't take... This guy's well-fed, all right? This is the Hamas senior, all right? This guy's well-fed. This dude ain't starving. This guy, not starving. I don't want to call him fat or anything. I may get banned on Twitch for calling him fat, but I wouldn't get banned on Twitch if I sucked his cock. This is beyond sickening. It is beyond gross. So when I see clips like this of the Hamas terrorists stealing food from their own civilians in order to propagandize people that they're starving to win a social media war, and I see Hasan Piker, the largest leftist political streamer, supporting the terrorists that are literally murdering and starving their own people for propaganda reasons, all right? I am beyond shocked that this shit is happening. He is directly supporting terrorists over the people he's claiming to support. So this is, again, Hasan's post. It didn't take 100 years to get back to this stage of fascism, showing pictures of the Holocaust compared to pictures of people getting fed and leaving, right? So anyway, they were memeing the fuck out of Hasan, so I'm gonna show it a little bit. It's basically a concentration camp. Oh wait, it's pick people online for a concert. This is the TSA line at Denver International Airport. One day, everyone will claim they were against this. All they wanted to do was visit their family, but the authorities forced them to drive away from their homes, to wait in lines, wear masks, security screenings. Why is the world silent? And people are memeing the fuck out of Hasan here. This was the line to get into the Super Bowl. The armed guards claimed they needed to corral people like this because of security concerns. You still think this isn't a genocide? That's crazy. Anyway, in other news, aside from a little bit of Hasan memeing, which is crazy, the World Food Program, which is the UN's world situation, admit they were working with Hamas. If you look at their statement, they say hordes of hungry people broke into the World Food Program Al-Ghafari warehouse in Deir al-Bas, central Gaza, in search for food supplies that were pre-positioned for distribution. It's a Hamas-controlled warehouse. The UN made a statement about Gazans breaking into a Hamas-controlled warehouse. I don't know where the corruption is, but I do know that it's pretty fucked up shit, not gonna lie. Now, in other news, finally, Amnesty International released a report detailing how Hamas security forces in Gaza are beating, threatening, and interrogating Palestinians who protest their rule. All right? Palestine, Hamas security services must stop targeting protesters. Right? You have to realize this is Hamas. This is an article that just came out today. This is Hamas literally torturing and beating and murdering their own people. So if you are supporting Hamas, then you are directly an antithesis to the Palestinian cause. You are. You literally are. These guys are fucking monsters. They started the war. They could end the war any day if they released the hostages and surrendered. And they are torturing the people in Gaza. Like, it is insane. So these are people in Gaza thanking Trump for the food. All right, he says Trump, Trump, Trump. Netanyahu and Trump, because the Israel and Americans got them food. America. I assume America is supposed to be America. But anyway, so that's people in Gaza expressing gratitude to Trump and Netanyahu for food. But don't worry, guys. Hasan thinks that this is an aid trap. Well, it's not an aid trap to the people that are getting food. Now, I want to remind you, these are Palestinians in Gaza protesting Hamas, right? Waving a white flag because they want Hamas to surrender. In Gaza, they protest against Hamas. In the United States, they protest for Hamas. This will never make sense to me. And Hasan, in my opinion, propagates these lies. So I wanted to watch Hasan's actual coverage of this situation, of starving people getting food. I really wanted to cover starving people getting food from Hasan's perspective, because now I want to look at this from not the perspective of the people that are starving that are getting food. I want to look at this from the perspective of maybe Hasan actually likes terrorists. So we're going to be watching a chunk of this video. I'm going to be skipping now and again. We don't need to watch his whole thing because he goes on a bunch of tangents. But yeah, you have to see the way he covers this situation. So again, let me remind you what it's about. Hamas steals food from their people and is starving them. America and Israel got them food. Hamas told them not to eat their food. They ended up finding out that Hamas actually had a warehouse full of food that they were not giving to the civilians. There's no way you could support Hamas here, right? Unless you're a terrorist supporting fuck.
We are going to talk about the U.S.-backed group and its aid distribution that started and basically was a spectacular
And by the way, apparently this got food to already over 500,000 people in Gaza. Apparently.
failure. Here's Dylan Saba saying, U.S. hunger plan, this is our genocide. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The U.S. is as responsible for the Gaza genocide as Israel was for the Sabra and Shatila massacres. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yes, this is America and doing a genocide. We know you hate America.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Dylan is 100% correct. You might have seen some of the images on the timeline earlier if you're on Twitter or if you're on, I don't know, freaking Blue Sky or whatever you're on. But Drop Site News covered it extensively as well. I'm going to obviously talk about that.
Okay.
Here is my take on it.
All right, here's Hasan's take.
Mohammed Shahada.
Hasan's take is Holocaust. Every time.
Thousands of starved Gazans stormed the dystopian Israeli-American aid complex in
They're giving food there. They went there and got food.
After being forced to stand in endless queues.
You are not going to be ready for the amount of arguments he makes to defend terrorists. I'm telling you in advance. You think you've seen the worst. You think you've seen the worst, bro. You ain't seen nothing.
And bake in the sun in a fenced concentration camp while being subjected to biometric surveillance. U.S. mercenaries...
You know, biometric surveillance is to make sure that there aren't terrorists, right? You know, the dictatorship tyrannical fuckers that are starving and killing everyone that they could find.
Israeli troops are opening fire. Israel's Khan reports U.S. mercenaries were likely the ones opening fire at the starved crowds, while reports from Gaza indicate Israeli troops also fired at the crowds. People were told to stand in queue all day while the mercenaries pick and choose who gets aid and who starves.
Who gets aid? The civilians. Who starves? The terrorists. Listen to the way this shit's phrased. They pick and choose. You know, they give it to the civilians and not the terrorists that they're currently at war with. Damn, crazy.
This comes a day after two key figures that were a part of...
Dude, I don't even like everything Israel's doing, man. But like, come on, dude. How are you like this?
The Gaza...
And look at his comment. Demonic Nazi shit.
Humanitarian Foundation, the GHF, a philanthropic NGO that is directly backed by the Israeli government and directly backed by the American government and American State Department officials, that was based out of Switzerland. Like the two key figures that actually resigned, including the main guy, Jake Wood, Marine sniper turned mercenary, U.S. mercenary, said, "This plan ain't gonna work. It's a bridge too far for me." He had resigned a day prior.
Okay.
Now, of course...
It's not gonna work. I mean, they're getting food to hundreds of thousands of people, but it's not gonna work. Okay.
I said it didn't take 100 years to get back to this stage of fascism, as you can see right here.
These are all people that were going to death camps and were probably all murdered, as opposed to, you know, getting food.
Identical. Literally identical.
Except for the, you know, whole murdered versus getting food thing.
Almost one-to-one comparison.
I mean, pretty similar, except for the whole, you know, in the first one, they were all murdered. And in the second one, they're getting food if they're not a terrorist. So, like, aside from being, like, they're pretty similar, except they're literally nothing alike at all.
What are we doing? What the hell is going on? How do people not see this? How?
Bro.
Instead of allowing aid...
This is insane. It's insane how much he needs to glaze terrorists.
...aid to be let into the strip. We are doing this incredible. Israel's Khan reports the U.S. mercenaries were likely the ones opening fire. Israel's Channel 12 highlights and reports that an Israeli helicopter began firing at the starved crowd while the American mercenaries ran away. Palestinian report, chaos in the center of the division. Thousands of Gazans broke into the humanitarian aid complex.
Run by Hamas.
As the new aid distribution plan in Gaza Strip was launched, it was reported that the Palestinian mob broke through the fences of the compound in Tel al-Sultan and attacked the humanitarian equipment.
All right. So... All right.
It was attacked the humanitarian equipment.
You do realize this is a Hamas-controlled factory, right?
It was also reported that IDF helicopters opened fire and at the American company's employees withdrew from the scene. At this stage, there is no verification of the claim. Thousands of Gazans have already...
All right, so basically Hamas claims that they were being fired at and there's no proof.
...arrived to receive food packages, some of them Israeli-made. That's the other side of the story.
This is my favorite conspiracy theory of all time. Are you ready to lose your fucking shit? Are you ready to lose your goddamn mind with what he's about to say?
Story, by the way. Never let a crisis go to waste. You know who gets to make money off of this?
Who makes money off of this aid? Who makes money off of this aid? You are about to hear probably one of the most unhinged conspiracy theories. Like, you would think this shit comes out of, like, fucking Candace Owens' mouth. Right? You would be shocked to hear this.
Genocide? Israeli companies.
They're giving free food to civilians in Gaza. And he's like, it's a trick for Jews to make money in Israel. Like, this dude's, he's actually retarded. Like, he's actually fucking retarded. Like, turns out capitalism can be used for good, I guess. But, like, this is, like, actually retarded. They're getting food to starving people, and he's like, and it has to be Israeli companies. What companies should they have been? But Israel's right there. Why wouldn't they use food from Israeli companies? What, you want them to ship food from America? And like ship a bag of sugar from America if you don't give them a bag of sugar from Israel? You know, a 5-minute drive away? Like, why are we even having this discussion? Like, this is unhinged level of conspiracy theory that it's all part of a plan for Israeli companies to make money. Especially because, and I'm sure he doesn't actually give a flying fuck about this, every single person in Israel's taxes were literally bumped by like 20% over the last year. They were all bumped. You know why? Because there's a war, all right? This isn't about secretly making money. It's insane. It's actually crazy to even, like, entertain this stuff. Like, and the thing is, I think Hasan absolutely knows this. I think he's just lying to glaze terrorist cock to his audience of retards.
That's right. Like, we're spending money here in America to fundraise, and then these initiatives are going, they have to go through Israel. No other way to let aid in, okay? And the food is still coming from Israeli producers.
Where should it come from? Why are you, like, what is even going on? What is even happening? He's so mad. He's so mad. Like, what is even going on, bro?
Thousands of Gazans have already arrived to receive food packages, some of them Israeli made. Hamas has also begun distributing free food in order to sabotage the distribution. Hamas has begun distributing free food in order to sabotage the distribution.
I love it. Listen to how he reads that like it's a win. Like, Hamas are the good guys, that they're giving free food to people. Hey, Hasan, where'd they get the free food from, bro? Where'd they get the free food from? Oh, because they stole humanitarian aid for the last 19 months of a war? Is that where they got free food? Where did they get the food? People were starving for the last 19 months, right?
Villain. Gaza is the
Villain shit about, you know, the people giving food to the starving people. Not about the food that were stealing, the people stealing food from the starving people, but the people giving food to the starving people? Oh, fuck.
2025 version of a concentration camp. Tens of thousands starved for 86 days. Then came aid, a chaotic, humiliating spectacle wrapped in barbed wire and guarded by American mercs. Even
like, there's so, I don't know, like, this is an insane retelling of history. Like, if they're starving people, then giving them food is a good thing, right? Like, look, I want them to eat. I don't want a single Palestinian civilian to die. I don't. It's a tragedy, every single one. But, like, what is even happening?
Even they fled when desperation breached the fence. This is also part of the reason why you can't have sterile zones where aid distribution is happening in one area. You can't package millions of people into 25% of the strip when Gaza already, before October 7, was an open-air prison.
This guy's crazy. It's crazy to even watch him spew his shit. All right, Gaza before October 7th was an open-air prison. Let me show you a video of Gaza before October 7th, just so we're on the same page of what it was like. I'll turn off the music. But this was Gaza before October 7th. All right, so essentially what's happening now is they're giving food to people that they are sure are not terrorists. All right, and they are basically letting them go through a checkpoint once they're not a terrorist, and then anyone past that checkpoint will be safe from the war that's happening. And the war will only continue over the area that terrorists are still there, are still present. So this is Gaza before October 7th. All right, just to be clear, that's the open air prison that he's talking about.
That was one of the most densely populated areas on the planet.
True! Hamas shouldn't have started a fucking war from an open-air prison that's the most densely populated area on the planet, retard. Like, this is the craziest shit ever. Like, this is actually insane. Like, dude, you realize that the war started because blood-sucking, bloodthirsty, terrorist, murderous, rapist, Hamas terrorist fucks decided to start a war. That's why this shit happened. Now, you could argue about the details that went on since then, absolutely. But how do you support the terrorists?
And then having that densely populated area and all of the population that has been starved get forced.
And remember, they're starved. He agrees, they're starving. But also giving them food bad.
Forced into two specific aid zones.
Did you know that Hamas shot 30,000 rockets into Israel over the last 20 years? 30,000 rockets into civilian cities? You think those guys are helping peace, or helping people live good lives? You spineless loser.
Is ridiculous. There is a reason why the United Nations was like, we don't want anything to do with this. This is ridiculous. Y'all are insane.
No, the UN wanted to keep control over the distribution plan, and Hamas terrorists were stealing that shit.
They are making a smaller concentration camp inside of a concentration camp.
It's crazy. It's crazy to even listen to this, man.
Thousands of people starving for months, crammed together and treated inhumanely. And do watch the American mercenary perched on high, waving like he's at a concert. The image is truly dystopian mix of cruelty and performance, unbelievable but fully intentional.
Right, so they give them food and they wave at them while they're yelling, "Thank you, Trump," right? I just showed you the video of them yelling, "Thank you, Trump." Right, so the guy yells, "Thank you, Trump." The guy waves back and it's like, oh, what a foolish, obvious propaganda campaign. Someone in my chat just said, probably a Hasan fan, Israel just dropped 5 nukes worth of missiles in the last year. So, first of all, if that's the case, then Israel has done the weakest genocide of all time. You think 5 nukes worth of missiles wouldn't kill more than 50,000 people that are living on essentially a couple of miles squared? Like, are you fucking retarded? Like, Israel dropped more bombs then people were killed. All right? Again, it's a fucking tragedy. Don't get me wrong. It's a fucking nightmare tragedy. But, like, you do realize that you're not exactly kind of proving yourself here.
It is ridiculous. Utterly depraved.
Depraved.
This wasn't
They're giving them food depraved.
humanitarian relief. It was a military-backed PR stunt. No system. 15
Except, you know, hundreds of thousands of people got food. But, you know, whatever.
kilometer walks. Yeah, that's the other side of this.
It's just a PR stunt. Whatever.
He made them walk 15 kilometers. Zero transport. Detainees mid-distribution. One food...
Were they supposed to put buses into Gaza, which is in the middle of a war? Were they supposed to have buses? Like, you have to realize the situation that's going on. Like, this is insane. Yes, they had to walk to the people that gave them food. Correct. You're right. You're correct. Yes.
Last 2 days, this is an aid is humiliation designed solely for optics, not survival.
Except it's giving food to starving people, and it's definitely for survival. Like, what are we even talking about?
This is damning. It confirms what everyone already knows. This isn't humanitarian aid. It's humiliation theater, a stage performance.
He is literally reading Hamas propaganda on stream all day. Like, you have to realize how insane this is.
To tick boxes, claim success, and justify continued siege, all under military protection. The Geneva Conventions obviously prohibit perfidy, a war crime that includes...
This is my favorite part.
...combatants impersonating aid workers.
So impersonating aid workers is bad, Hasan? So impersonating aid workers is bad then? So because it's a war crime? Impersonating aid workers is a war crime, so it's bad, and since it's a war crime, it shouldn't be done? You make a good point. Are you aware that the leader of Hamas was killed in a hospital? Oh, that's also a war crime. Fuck, that's crazy. I don't remember Hasan ever calling out the Hamas terrorists that do war crimes. Like, you know, raping women, murdering babies, dressing as civilians, putting their missile launchers in hospitals, making believe they're press instead of fighters. They don't identify as soldiers. They dress like civilians, using human shields. Like, the list keeps going on, but those war crimes are okay because they're war crimes on his side. So he's fine with that.
Rafah, American mercenaries posed as humanitarians, luring starving civilians into a military...
Posed as humanitarians. You have to realize they gave them food. He's saying that America did war crimes here because American mercenaries gave food to people. And that's a war crime because they were dressing like people. Like, what? What is even happening? It's a good thing Hasan has a double standard, because if he didn't have a double standard, he'd have no standards at all.
Control zone with no real aid system. It is a war crime. He's like, America is doing war crimes because American mercenaries are giving food to people like aid workers. That's a war crime. Actual retard, actual dumbass. It's insane. Palestinians, after bombing their homes, and then bombing their tents, they made those Palestinians walk 15 kilometers, okay? 7.5 miles to get to
9 miles.
This area where aid was distributed. Aid in air quotes was distributed by...
Aid in air quotes. I mean, it was food and it is going to keep them alive, but air quotes because, you know, the Hamas terrorists don't like that.
The very same factions that are bombing them. And in the process of quote unquote aid distribution...
He's mad that they're getting food from people because those people are on the other side of the war. Hasan might have the dumbest geopolitical takes of all time. I love how he's looking at this and he's like, terror is good. Everyone else, I don't give a fuck.
After starving them for 9 miles, after starving them for 86 days.
All right, so if they were starved for 86 days, why is he so mad that they're getting food? Like, this is the craziest, like, misrepresentation of anything I've ever seen.
They started detaining people on the line, and of course, predictably, chaos broke out. Like, I've been covering the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation since we found out that this was the plan, talking about exactly what was going to happen, okay? Talking about exactly what was going to happen. That what happened here is a more restrained version of what should have most likely happened. It is crazy. If the photos coming out of Gaza of Palestinians crammed into cages to get scraps and crumbs...
Crammed into cages? They're waiting in a line!
The food don't remind you of...
This is the largest leftist political streamer, by the way. The largest leftist political streamer on the planet, okay? He goes live, he streams, he glazes terrorists. By the way, you realize this is called a dog whistle. When he says that America is doing war crimes and American soldiers are war criminals, he is essentially telling people to take matters into their own hands and commit violence, in my opinion. All right? Because this is like, it's the method he uses. All right? This is the method that he uses every single time. Every time. It's like, it's little dog whistles calling people Nazis, and what do you do to Nazis? Well, you beat them up, am I right, guys? And after you see him constantly doing this, it's insane that this guy has, not only does he have a platform inciting violence against Americans, but the craziest part is the fact that no one even covers his political shit except for me. No one else wants to cover this shit.
The Holocaust, that's because
I don't blame them. I'm just doing this because I like making fun of this retard. He's like an actual terrorist propaganda machine.
you haven't seen very many photos of the Nazi genocide during World War II. It is quite literally a 1-to-1. As the Israeli aid scheme staffed by U.S. mercenaries begins in Gaza, so there's already a report of a Palestinian being kidnapped when he went to get one of the small boxes of food. His family says he went to the Muraj Crossing Aid Distribution Center. To our shock, he called us under threat from Israeli intelligence officers demanding information about one of our relatives with whom we've had no contact since the beginning of the war. When we were unable to provide the information the army requested, communication was cut off, and we were later informed that he was transferred to a detention center. He is now considered missing. Every single person in Gaza is treated like an enemy combatant.
What are we even doing here? What are we even doing here? This is crazy. Well, actual complete moron. Like, he literally just read a minute ago that they were making people go through biometric tests in order to decide if they are citizens or if they are combatants, so that they would give food to the citizens and not the combatants. He closes the tab, and then he says, they are treating everyone like a combatant. I can't believe this.
Single one. Okay, the Israeli military does not make an exception between like civilians. The Israeli military
well, except they're giving them food right now, which is kind of weird.
Certainly does not make an exception for people who are even like politically involved with the civil governance and civil affairs. They are actively targeting people who are responsible for trash collection.
Actively targeting? Does it say here that they're targeting? Like, he'll say something and he'll put something on screen, but that thing that he says on screen does not contribute to what he's saying. Israeli strikes kill 30 in Gaza, including a rescue service official and local journalist, which is tragic. It's horrible. But does that mean that they're targeting trash collectors and journalists? That's not what the article says.
Or responsible for policing, responsible for, they're killing the agriculture ministers and stuff, and then saying we killed another high-profile Hamas target. Okay.
Weird how no article showed up when he said that one.
Okay, they're killing journalists and then saying, well, this person was photographed.
Well, you have to really. Oh wow, that's crazy.
Next to Yahya Sinwar, so
he's actually insane. I showed evidence a dozen times over that this journalist that he's talking about was a Hamas fighter. Like, what are we even doing here? What is even happening? He's like, they killed journalists. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And the evidence doesn't exist. Like, this is crazy. Palestinian journalist killed in Gaza as Israel targets colleague. This is literal evidence. This article says that Israel did not target the journalist, right? Like, he's lying, and he's showing you proof that he's lying on the same frame. On the same frame! This is crazy. Oh my God.
And then saying, well, this person was photographed next to Yahya Sinwar. So obviously...
Yeah, well, the guy he's talking about was a terrorist.
So obviously he is also Hamas. They're killing...
All right, that photo that he's talking about, dude, you want me to pull up that photo with him and Yahya Sinwar? Like, just to show you what's happening here. How disgusting this is. This is what he's talking about, all right? This is Hasan Eslaya, all right? He is this guy, all right? And this is him getting kissed by Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas that orchestrated the entire terrorist attack on October 7th and started this entire war, all right? Kissing this journalist, okay? Like, this is what he's talking about, bro. And he's like, I can't believe he died. This is crazy.
Children, and they're not even hiding it. They're openly doing it in display of the rest of the planet. And understandably, this has created a lot of resentment towards Israel.
I don't even think Hasan is a leftist. I think he's just a terrorist propaganda.
Israel has become a pariah state in even the Western world. It was already a pariah state for the global South. Now, even Western countries, the populations of Western countries, see this horrifying picture, okay? And
right. Anyway, he keeps yapping a little bit, but we got to get to more of the meat and potatoes of the current situation.
The project has been controversial, seen by critics as politicizing and militarizing aid and using food...
Right, this is from the BBC, who claimed that 18,000 babies were going to die in a 48-hour period, which didn't happen, and they deleted their post. Yeah, the BBC, the most moral army of all time.
Distribution to cattle Palestinians into diminishingly smaller areas with selective distribution used to starve out Israel's adversaries. The foundation rejects the criticism, saying its operations conform to the humanitarian principle of neutrality. Let's go live now to our Middle East correspondent.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
All right, so he's disagreeing with the BBC. The BBC is incredibly anti-Israel, by the way, and he is disagreeing with the BBC. He's more anti-Israel than the most anti-Israel actual news sites.
Does not. Aid to civilians in a theater of war cannot be given by enemy combatants.
Dude, this guy, like the BBC is like, they are giving food to civilians, and hopefully now they will live. And then Hasan is like, no! No, Hamas said they shouldn't eat the food. Hamas literally told them not to do that.
It cannot have any military use.
No, it's breaking the rules. There are rules that they're breaking. Unlike the terrorists, they don't break any rules. Nope, not a single rule has ever been broken by the terrorists that started this war, that are taking hostages and murdering their own people. Nope, we don't care. We're fine with that. That shit's cool. That's Poggers champion. But no! Taking the food from they should starve instead, says Hasan Piker, the fighter for the Palestinian cause.
It is illegal.
It's illegal.
That is literally illegal, okay? The idea that you can use aid for military purpose...
By the way, when he's saying use aid for military purpose, it means only giving aid to civilians, but making sure that terrorists don't steal the aid. Just to put this into perspective, that's what he's talking about. Because until now, the terrorists were stealing the aid. So he is saying that it's illegal to use it for military purpose. The purpose is to make sure that the food goes to the civilians, not the terrorists. That's what he's complaining about.
Is insane. But so is doing a genocide. Obviously, it is the worst crime.
Giving food is definitely one of the signs of a genocide. Yeah, giving food to civilians is absolutely one of the biggest signs of a genocide.
That a state can commit. There is no crime worse than ethnic cleansing.
Now, the UN and most UN agencies that have been working on the Gaza humanitarian crisis have been refusing to work with this newly created foundation. They see it as both unethical and unworkable, and they've accused Israel of using food as a weapon and also using it as bait to try to fit in with the military strategy of forcing Palestinians in Gaza to move to the south.
Right, they're trying to move the civilians into the south so that they can continue the war in the north against the actual terrorists without risking the civilians as much. That is the argument that he's fighting against.
You know, it's not clear at the moment whether this will be effective. Israel says that a new system is urgently needed to stop Hamas from...
And yes, obviously a new system is needed. They're stealing the food. I just showed you factories being raided.
Stealing supplies for its own benefit.
Yep.
And that's something that the UN has said is not happening in a
The UN said it's not happening, guys. The UN said it's not happening that they're stealing that much food. The UN said it's not happening. Pay no attention to this pile of food that the Palestinians found in a Hamas warehouse. Pay no attention to any of that. It's not happening, guys. It's not happening.
Meaningful way. At the same time...
Wait, listen to that again. That's crazy. Hold on. This is insane. Listen to this.
Not happening in a meaningful way.
It's not happening in a meaningful way. They admit that they're stealing food. They admit that they're stealing food, just not meaningfully stealing food. Oh my God, dude, stop.
At the same time, we've been hearing from the UN's humanitarian office some figures suggesting that despite Israel's easing of the blockade, the total blockade imposed on Gaza for 11 weeks, saying this was to pressure Hamas.
Also today, the occupation announced a seizure.
All right, now you read some random chatters for like 5 minutes. We skip to after he finishes talking to chatters because none of that's important.
It's just such freak, dude. It is especially freak-like when so close in your history do you have...
This is the craziest line that he says in this video.
Freak-like when so close in your history do you have immediate relatives that were victim to this exact same design.
He's like, it's so weird that this is happening. It's so weird that this is happening by people that are related to people that were killed in a Holocaust. It's painful. It's painful to listen to this guy. It's actually insane to listen to this. How could you cry about the Holocaust when they're giving food to civilians? I don't understand. This is insane. This is the most disingenuous person I've ever seen.
One-to-one,
verbatim. Verbatim. It's the same thing.
Identical design in the Holocaust.
Identical design. What is happening? They're not even remotely comparable. And it's insane. This is the war that started because Hamas started the war. Hamas could have ended the war. Hamas uses human shields. He supports Hamas, and then he says that Israel's doing a Holocaust. You've got to be fucking retarded. Actually retarded. Dude, You look at starved Holocaust survivors. They do not look anything like the fucking leaders of Hamas. All right, this is the guy in Hamas that's telling people do not eat the food. All right, this is the Hamas terrorist that says don't eat the food. This motherfucker probably ate the civilians in Gaza. All right, like what are we even talking about, bro? What is even happening? There was not one Jew that was a Holocaust survivor that looked like this. Not one. All right, like miss me with this fucking pandering, annoying bullshit. It's insane.
To turn around and do it not 100 years after is psychotic. But
yeah, and then they turn around and do it 100 years after. They got Holocausted, and now they Holocaust other people. Insane. Insane. But anyway, I feel like this is, and then the rest of it's just like reading chat and stuff. But I wanted to wrap it up here. I feel like this is actually crazy. One of the wildest Hasan videos I think I've ever seen. The fact that he has been crying on Twitter, rightfully crying, I think, actually, not gonna lie. He has been rightfully crying that there were people starving in Gaza. All right? Mass starvation for 19 months. And here, the United States backed Israeli food that is going into Gaza, and he is losing his shit, talking about how it's like an aid trap and how this is basically a concentration camp because people are waiting in line. All right, people are waiting in line, and it's like a concentration camp now. I wanted to cover this because I thought this is probably the most damning evidence I've ever seen of Hasan directly supporting the actual terrorists over supporting the civilians. He likes the terrorists more than the civilians. I said this before. I will say it again. You could remember this as the episode of How Fucked is Hamas Piker. That this is the episode that I think verifiably proves that Hamas, Diddy, Bin Laden, Adolf Epstein, Piker does not give a fuck about Palestinians, does not care about Gazan civilians. He supports the genocidal terrorists. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I know I didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully Hasan does something retarded instead of just straight evil, because I prefer retards to villains. Thanks for being here. Definitely share this video to other people that want to see him being a retard. I think this was a crazy situation. Just going through all the evidence for this stuff, like reading up on it, and then watching Hasan's video has got to be one of the most mind-breaking experience of all times. So anyway, I hope I never cover him again, because we'll just skip to 1000% and he'll be in jail next time. Stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.